Alright guys, the next video I'm going to bring you today is a dodge build. It's not a stealth build, it's a loud build, but we're still going to be wearing our fancy two-piece suit. I first kind of found out about this when I would be in lobbies and I'm full up with armor, my detection rating is 75, and I'd see people in the lobby that had a detection of 3 and they're running around in a suit with like akimbo pistols and they're awesome, and I'm there struggling in a big tank armor and I'm getting beat up like you wouldn't believe. So a little bit of research and I got into dodge building, and that's kind of all I've been using probably from Infamy 5 all the way up to 25. So it's been a while that I've been using these builds, and I feel like I've kind of perfected it a little bit. This is the build that I use all the time. There are a couple of variants on here that you could use if you wanted to. But we're going to start off. I've got my 120 points. You do need quite a few points to get a decent build on here, but once you get to a certain stage, the rest is extra. So I'm going to start off with the perk deck. Starting with the rogue perk deck, we've got 3 in this entire thing that add 10% dodge to your build. First one being subtle, 10%. And then we've got evasive, another 10%, and then we've got shadow warrior, another 10%. And now there's also a couple of other things in this perk deck that actually make this even more effective. So elusive is a 15% less likely to be targeted when you're close to your crew members. So although you're not dodging more bullets, you're kind of evading if you're next to your teammates, so they're going to get the bullets instead. So it's kind of the same thing. And then we've got another couple of beasts in here. This one is actually kind of cool. All your weapons have a 25% chance to pierce enemy armor, and swapping your weapons is reduced by 80%, which is kind of cool. And then another 5% more damage here, and as you can see, some other good things. So rogue is the one for me. I believe you can use crook or something else too, but I only ever use rogue for my dodge builds. Next we're going to go into the actual skill trees. Now, like I did in my stealth build, where stealth was built around ghost, this one is going to be built around fugitive. And then once you've kind of got up to these top ones in fugitive, I always build up mastermind. So starting with fugitive, what we actually want to get to is sneaky bastard, low blow, and then we want to get to the akimbos, because those are pretty beast if you do a lot of pistol work in this build, which is what I do. So we're going to build our way up to them, and then we can go into what they actually do. So let's start this tree off, and a lot of these low ones are just getting to the higher ones, really. There are a couple of how do you put it? There are a couple of dodge increasing things in the lower parts of some of these skill trees. So duck and cover is one. Basic, you get a 5% chance of dodging enemy fire while crouching. And then once it's aced, you have an additional 10 on top of that. So just by crouching, you've got an extra 15. So as long as you're crouching down, you get 15 extra % of dodge, which is cool. Next, I always take, because I've obviously got no armor, I take first aid, and I always, I only run in with 7. You can get it as high as 14 little med bags, but as long as your dodge is good and you're ducking and you're running and all that kind of stuff, you don't need 14 little bags. We're going to take additional movement speed, like we always want. And we do want to get up here, so we've still got to spend another 4 points. I am going to take this one where are we? What's that one called? Brother's Keeper. Damage thugs deal to you is reduced by 10%. And we're going to ace it, and that gives us our 4 points to get up to the next one. Going to take the uppers, which gives us now, when we start a game, we have got 7 med bags, which is kind of cool. Spending 8 more points on that to get up to 14, not really worth it in my opinion. Next one, I always take Swan Song. It's kind of cool when you've lost all of your health. You can kind of just go balls out for a little bit until your ammo runs out, and you've got 3 seconds before you get downed. To get on to the next one, we need 1 more point. So I'll always take this one because it increases It increases melee weapon concealment by 2, which is kind of cool because we do want a low concealment based on these top 2 things that we're going to get here. Now we're going to go for low blow. This is kind of nice. It's a critical hit chance for every 3 points of concealment under 35, but only a maximum of 30%. So as long as we've got a really low concealment, we can get a 30% critical hit damage. And a critical hit obviously is a hit that is going to kill somebody. So our chance of killing somebody in 1 hit is at 30% more than it normally would be if we didn't have this, if that kind of makes sense. So we're going to take that, and now we need to spend another 5 to get up to the top here. Now, because we're going to be going for pistols, I'm going to take Trigger Happy. Trigger Happy gives us a 10% damage boost for 2 seconds and can stack 4 times. So once you hit somebody, you get a 10% boost for 2 seconds, and then you can keep doing that up to 4 times, which is kind of nice. So again, we're boosting the damage on the pistols. We still need to spend 1 more point, and there's really nothing that I just want 1 more point on here, so you can pretty much grab anything you like. Sneaky Bastard is really important. I don't actually ace this one. I stay with the basic. It's the similar kind of math as the low blow. You gain 1% of dodge chance for every 3 points of concealment under 35 up to 10%. Now what that basically means is that you can max out an extra 10% dodge as long as you keep your concealment under 5. So as long as we're under 5, we get an extra 30 dodge. So we're always going to keep that. Now if you want to run louder weapons or bigger weapons that have less concealment, you might want to ace this one out, because then you get a 1% dodge chance for every 1 point of concealment under 35. So you can actually keep your weapons up to a concealment of 25 and still get the same amount of dodge as you get once this is basic. Just something to keep in mind. And then the last one that we want here is the Akimbos. There are a couple of other little ones that we're going to take here. We want to take in the Ghost Tree Sprinter, and you'll actually see that there is a dodge built into this one too, which is kind of nice. So when you're sprinting, you get another 25% chance of dodge while you're running. So basically on top of our basic dodge, you've got, if you're crouching, you get an extra 15%. If you're running, you get an extra 25%. So really, you've got to be on the move at all times. Always running, always running. Never take anything in Technician on this one. I do eventually go into Enforcer, but as I'm building up, this is not one that I go into. Once I've kind of got this one sorted, and I'll usually take this as part of the earlier ones, and I'll take this because it's just stamina. Because you're going to be running around like a maniac, you may as well be able to run for longer. This is kind of the point where I'm heading towards Inspire, and you really don't get to these ones aced out till quite a way into a Infamy. So let's go a little further here. So now we're still increasing our pistol stuff. Your crew's weapon stability with pistols increased by 20%, and then once it's ace we get a further 50%, which is awesome. And then more pistols here, accuracy with pistols 10%, and then on top of the 80% reduction in time from our perk deck to swap weapons, this is also going to increase that by another 50% once we get Equilibrium. Now once we ace it, we get Fire It with pistols increased 100%, so we're really bulking up pistols, and now we've also got the Akimbos at the same time, which class as pistols, which is cool. Then I'm going to take Spotter. I don't want this aced, I just want it basic. You can mark out guards, or not mark out guards, you can mark out special enemies like dozers and cloakers and tasers, and then once you've marked them, they take an extra 15%, so this is awesome. Don't need the spotter asset on the bottom here for the ace, not worth it. So now we're looking for another 4 points. We're going to take Dominator to help us get up there, and we're going to increase the range of our intimidation by 50% at the same time. So now we're actually getting somewhere. We want to get up to here. We want to get 9 more points to get up to Gunslinger, but these really don't interest me. What I generally do is I'll use these ones here, because at the end, once we get an Inspire, we're going to be helping people up. We're going to be yelling to get them off the ground. Once we get these two aced, we actually, when we do get people up off the ground, we get a little damage reduction, and so do the crew members, and they get more health when they're revived. So we're going to ace these out. What did we need? Another 5. There we go. We'll ace those bad boys out, and now we only need 1 more point, so this really doesn't matter. And now we're up to where we want to be. Okay, next we actually want to get, let's ace that, because now we have another 15 damage with pistols at the same time. And here we are, this is where we want to be. We're going to take Inspire and Inspire ace. Now we're a complete tank. A complete tank. So if you don't know what Inspire is, it's probably one of the most overpowered skills in this game. You can stand by somebody and you can yell to get them up. You don't have to revive them, and you've got a 75% chance every time you yell to actually get them up. So it's awesome. If you hear people yelling in the game, that's what it is. And then with the last 20 points, I'll go for Pistol Messiah, because I'm all about the pistols in this loadout. I'm going to get Pistol Messiah, but it's useless unless you get this here, Die Hard, because this is where you can use your primary weapon in Bleed Out. Because what I do is I use a shotgun as a secondary, so I need this skill here, so when I go down and I'm on the ground, I can switch to my primary, and then I can use Pistol Messiah to get back up if no one can help me out. So that's the only reason that I'm coming this way, and that's what I'll get. So this is kind of the end of my build when I get into the Enforcer tree. Like I say, never touch Technician. Don't really go any further into Ghost. I mean, you could if you wanted to do the bag interaction stuff, but that's not really important to me. And the final 10 points, I would pretty much choose some of these here. This is always a good one to have, is Underdog. So when you're surrounded by 3 enemies or more, you receive a damage bonus. And then if you ace that, you would receive 15% less damage from enemies. So there's a 30% swing right there. So I would usually take that. And then this is pretty much this one's actually kind of cool too. Flashbangs, stun resistance, and all that kind of stuff is pretty crazy. So got enough to ace those out, and then really you've got 2 points left, and it's really entirely your choice with those last two. Maybe interacting with bags. And then probably this one, 5% more damage against special enemies. So once you've marked a special enemy out, you got the 15% from earlier. This will give you another 5. And that is 120 points spent on a pretty beast loadout. So what this will actually allow you to do is have the maximum dodge available when you're wearing your suit. You've got akimbo pistols. You can run around like a maniac and dodge bullets. Your stun resistance and flashbang resistance is the highest it can be. You get damage boost when you're surrounded. You get less damage when you're surrounded. If you actually do go down, you switch to your primary and you shoot and then kill an enemy. You come back up without being revived. You switch pistols fast as hell. They do more damage than they can ever do before, and you can inspire people off the ground. What more do you need in a build? I like these, the Akimbo Bonetti 9s. You can see here what my mods and everything have done to these guns, which is pretty crazy. So the rate of fire has doubled, so now it's 1340 and the base was 670. You get 52 bullets in a regular clip and 196 total. The damage is now 31 instead of 18, which is huge. And then for a secondary, I use the Judge. Whoops, let's go back. I use the Judge with the HE rounds. You lose a little bit of ammo capacity, but you can actually shoot shields and dozers with these things, so it's pretty sick. The damage is 115, which is awesome. And then obviously for the equipment, you'll be using the first aid bags, because you're going to be carrying 7 of those suckers. And that is it. That is the Dodge build. My favorite build of all time. Enjoy.